Hello everybody and welcome to Cretaceous Cantina, where today we're having a look at the Mattel Jurassic World Dino Rivals Bite and Fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. This is one I've been super excited about. With any Jurassic toy line, the T-Rex for me is always the most exciting part. And even though we've gotten several T-Rexes in this line, all of which we've reviewed here on the channel, this is a completely different one, as you can see just by looking at it. It looks very different. I got this from Entertainment Earth. It was priced at $36.99 and had a free shipping promotion, so I couldn't help myself. I had to get it. I haven't heard that they're hitting stores quite yet, but Entertainment Earth is the place to get them when they have them in stock. I gotta talk about this Dino Rivals packaging. When I first saw it, I thought it looked okay, but I gotta say it's really growing on me, especially the colors that you have in the background. I really like that really clean Jurassic World logo in the back, but the colors really grab your attention and look awesome. Beautiful packaging overall. On the bottom you get the T-Rex, you get Triceratops, Owen. It shows you how you can try it before you buy it. At the back, you can see the T-Rex in action. Once again, you press the buttons to activate its features, and there it is going for the Concavinator, which is another new Dino Rivals item coming soon. You get twisting and turning biting action and massive tail strike. On the lower left, it shows you some other items available in Dino Rivals coming soon. Tells you get one collector card and that you have Jurassic Facts app compatibility. Nothing much to see here on the bottom. There is the UPC for anybody that is after it. I can tell that it's going to be a little bit hard to find mint condition versions of these in the stores because, as you can see, there's a lot of packaging and lots of little spots where it can get creased and dented and crushed. So something to keep in mind if you're looking for them in package. Look over them carefully. Alright, once again, I'm really excited to get this unboxed, so let's get to it. Alright, you guys, here she is out of the packaging. Rexy is looking fine. Mighty fine. I gotta say, when I first saw pictures of this online, I wasn't really sure that I liked the color scheme. I really didn't think it looked any more accurate than the previous Mattel Jurassic T-Rexes, but when you have it in hand, that completely changes. I don't know what it is, but this looks so much better in person, particularly to the Jurassic World T-Rex, which seems a little bit darker and grittier than the Jurassic Park T-Rex. I know it's the same Rex, they look different. But man, let's talk about this gorgeous sculpt because it really looks fantastic. I feel like for the first time, Mattel has finally balanced the proportions of the T-Rex. Yeah, maybe the head's still a little bit big, but in comparison to the body and the size of the feet and the tail, it looks pretty darn accurate to my eye. Even just looking at her head on like this, she looks scary. And that's one thing I'll add about this T-Rex also is that the Bite and Fight T-Rex is definitely the scariest looking of all the T-Rexes that Mattel's put out so far. I gotta say, I'm really getting the chocolatey vibes from this figure. It feels like they patterned her after different kinds of chocolates, which I wouldn't necessarily be completely surprised about if they did. But no matter how you slice it, this looks really good. So let's go and take a close-up look at her head. So Mattel already nailed the Rexy head sculpt. They've done that with the Thrash and Throw T-Rex, with the Legacy Extreme Chompin' T-Rex, with the Super Colossal T-Rex. So it doesn't surprise me that this looks equally as good. It's just a gorgeous looking sculpt. There's a lot of detail in it, a lot of nice texturing going on. I just think that she looks excellent. And when you close that mouth, I mean, she definitely looks a lot, if not exactly like the Thrash and Throw T-Rex, which is great. That's what we're going for. That's very accurate. So this looks awesome. And like I said, the new paint scheme here really changes the dynamics of how this figure comes through. So you have these really deep tones of browns and muddied up grays and beiges, and they're done in different ways, particularly on the head. You can see how those colors give depth and dimension to the sculpt and help to highlight some of these sculpted details that you have in there. As with before, the eyes are yellow and you have a black circle for the pupil. So nothing really new there. I think it's painted a little bit differently than it was before, but it still looks really good. I do like how the lower jaw isn't quite as bright as it was before. On the other T-Rexes, it's a lighter beige color. Here they subdued it a little bit to kind of match the rest of the paint scheme, which looks pretty nice. The paint gets darker around the eyes and around the concaves of the skull, and it just looks really fantastic. Then when you look in the mouth, you get that really awesome look at that sculpted tongue. I mean, that looks really great. I mean, there's even like taste buds sculpted onto the tongue. I'm not even kidding there. You can kind of see them in here. And a really nice wet glossed look to the mouth, which is super important, of course. The teeth are kind of done in this sort of yellowish tinged color. Obviously, Rexy, having been loose on the island for a couple decades, probably didn't get the best dental care. The roof of the mouth is nicely detailed, not quite as slicked, but it still looks perfectly adequate. And the rest of the body too. Like I said, this is a very proportionate T-Rex. They really did a good job at capturing the silhouette and making it look accurate to the films. The same is true for the arms, down as you get through the body, and even the legs. Look at all the sculpted detail that you have there in the legs. That's really nicely accomplished. The tail is also very nice. It's not too stubby and short. It's not too long either. It looks like it's, just in there where it needs to be. The feet look really good. As you can see here, sculpted very nicely. She's got some very slicked black toe claws that look great. Here at the bottom, you can see she has a lighter color going down the body. For those of you who want the Jurassic Facts app, there is that right there. And that lighter shade transfers into this darker, more muddy shade of brown, which then carries onto the top of the body, which is more of this caramel sort of color. Like I said, this really looks like something out of a confectioner's office or something because it looks amazingly chocolatey, almost like you could just take it and eat it. Who doesn't love chocolate, especially around the holidays? And yeah, this looks dynamic. I'm really happy with what I'm seeing here. The only thing I can maybe nitpick is that they didn't really paint the tail. It's just basically one color, but that's pretty minor. It could have looked a little bit better, yes, but by and large, I'm really happy with what they did here. So let's talk articulation. You're not really going to get anything meaningful out of the head or the neck because this is all integrated into the action feature, which I will point out in just a little bit. Like I showed you, you can close the jaw manually, but its default is to just hang open. Here at the forelimbs, you do have articulation. So you have ball joints at both of these shoulders here. And I got to add that these are not the same ball joints that we had previously with the other T-Rexes. These are actually full insert molded joints. So there isn't any stoppage up there. You can get them as high as you want. You can rotate them as far as you want. I love that. This is a huge improvement here. For both of the hips, you can move those. Those are on joints as well. They come out, they go in as was the case before. You can rotate them. And here at the ankles, of course, you can swivel both of those around. All right, let's talk action features. So the way that this works is if you look at the back, you'll see two buttons. There's one right here and one right there. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna hold your T-Rex and you're gonna press this top button. And you gotta press it a little bit hard. And she does this chomping thing. If you don't press it all the way, you press it a little slow, it doesn't do it really very well. And if you do it slow and hard, it kind of does it, but just kind of in the slower motion. So you really want to push it in and get that full effect right there. I think it looks a little goofy, but it doesn't really hinder the aesthetics in any way. And I think that's the most remarkable thing about this is that it does look good. It's fun. But you have that fun action feature built into it as well. Then for the back button, if you press on that, you get some tail action. So check this out. And you will notice that there's a hinge right there and there's a hinge over here. So when you're pressing that button, you can get movement from both of those hinges. Kind of like a wagging sort of feature. And that's basically your tail strike action. All right, so naturally we need to test this out, see how well it works in practice. It's very hard to grab the dinosaur, but I assume if you did it just right, you might be able to do it. Let's see how the tail whipping action works on this one. There you go. Raptor's a little bit short, but this definitely works. And yeah, ultimately definitely adds playability, especially if you're a kid and you're playing around with your dinosaurs. I mean, that's just fun. All right, now the Bite and Fight T-Rex is in scale with the Thrash and Throw T-Rex. They're pretty much the same exact size one to the other. So if you buy the Bite and Fight, you're gonna get a Jurassic World size Rexy. So she could be the main T-Rex in your Jurassic World display, and that's great. When you look at them side by side, you can see that both of them have a pretty nicely done paint scheme. Even though the Thrash and Throw is too light in color overall, it's still painted pretty well, particularly on the snout and also on the back. I have always felt that the head was a little bit too big on that one. And if you look at the bite and fight, it looks like maybe they dialed back the dimensions of the neck. And I think that that makes the head look a little bit smaller. But in terms of color, I don't think either one is 100% correct to Jurassic Park or to Jurassic World. But now that I have the bite and fight in hand, I feel like it's closer. I feel like it's definitely closer to the aesthetic we get in the films, particularly again in Jurassic World, where Rexy is a little bit darker, a little older, more seasoned. And I think that translates pretty well into toy form here. And it's definitely Rexy because you do get the scars on the body, just like the thrash and throw. It's just a different interpretation of Rexy. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like the thrash and throw, but it is hard to stand. After a while, the feet become kind of weird. It just doesn't want to balance anymore. And of course, when you move it around, you keep getting that stomping sound, and that always bothered me a bit. So the fact that this new one doesn't have any electronics, but does have the action features that aren't really noticeable unless you start pressing the buttons, really makes it very appealing to me as an adult collector. And even if you're a kid, I think, that is just an awesome piece. It's very fun, lots of playability. And again, it's movie accurate size, which is amazing. All right, so here we have our card, and you can see that the T-Rex has a strength of level 10. So she is super, super strong, which makes perfect sense. Her speed is a 7, so she's fast. She's just not as fast as something like a Velociraptor. Her brains are kind of in the middle of 5, so she's not particularly brilliant, and she's not dumb either, I guess. So anytime Rexy swoops in Jurassic World and saves the day, just keep in mind that's just what she would have done anyway. She didn't really plan it out or anything. And then for her ferocity, she's a level 9 because she's Rexy. She's pretty awesome. And then there's the back, Dino Rivals. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so there you have it. This is the Mattel Jurassic World Bite and Fight Tyrannosaurus Rex. Overall, you guys, I love this thing. I know some people are going to say, well, I already have plenty of Rexes in my collection. Do I need another? Yes, you absolutely do. Because other than the super colossal T-Rex, which is still my favorite Mattel Jurassic World T-Rex, just because of its ridiculous big size and how awesome it looks on the shelf, this is now my second favorite. I absolutely love the Bite and Fight T-Rex. Mattel really hit the mark here. I think this is more of what I wanted the Thrash and Throw to be, which not only does it look great, but it's also got a nice paint scheme that looks quite rich and detailed for a mass-produced T-Rex toy. But it's also got fun action features that are very well integrated into the sculpt and really aren't obvious unless you start pushing the buttons. I love the wealth of articulation you can get with these shoulders. Way more movement there than on the previous Mattel Jurassic T-Rexes. As you can see, she balances very well. I haven't had any problems getting her to stay upright. We'll see if that changes down the line, but for now she's holding up. And again, the inside of the mouth is exquisitely detailed. Very surprising, but very awesome too. But I just really like these colors. Now that I have it in hand, it looks so much better, and I definitely prefer this color palette to what we get with the other Mattel Jurassic T-Rexes. This is spot on in my book in terms of what you get for the price. And just having that one T-Rex in your collection that is going to scale with the rest of the line and be a fun part of the collection too, because it really is fun and it does look great. I am so happy with this. Again, $36.99 through Entertainment Earth. I think it's supposed to retail in stores closer to $29.99, but this is one that I wouldn't mind having a double of because it's just so fun, and I really like the way that it turned out. Alright my friends, I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think of the Bite and Fight T-Rex? I'm curious, let me know. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so that you can get the latest news and updates about the channel and the Mattel Jurassic World line. And as always, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to Cretaceous Cantina. Until next time, bye-bye.